Understood. Now would you look at that? She's breathing, but her spirit is gone. Damn you, Looking. Got it.
So, I guess we have some talking to do, don't we?
You knew about my mother, didn't you? That's what you hinted at back in the forge before we set out to the Eye.
Well, the answer is yes and no. I had suspicions, let us call it that, but they weren't enough to go on, and I had no idea your mother was connected to the Bloodburn.
Why didn't you tell me?
That I believe you might be the result of your father's experiments? That you're the offspring of some long-dead, forgotten race? Tell me, Tahar, what for? I mean, at best, you wouldn't have believed me. And at worst, it would have cost you your sanity. So no, I don't think I should have told you. I didn't know if these suspicions had any substance at all. And I would have been at great risk, especially back then when you were still part of the rebellion.
Where did these suspicions come from? Did my father tell you?
No. And he never found out that I knew. Your father... I don't need to tell you how meticulous he was, do I? That's why he always kept notes of his experiments and studies. I found one, a notebook. The story's actually quite simple. Your father had gone out to meet with Aeolot Iskander, and had tasked me with cleaning up his laboratory.
Really? He never let me into his laboratory.
I know. And he wasn't exactly trustworthy towards me, neither. But you know Asamo. His mood was never what you'd call stable. One day, he'd think the entire rebellion had schemed against him. The next day, he told us that we'd change the world. It was part of his charisma, I guess. Sometimes I think the reason why the Mage Rebellion became so big was less of Asamo's magical powers, rather than his ability to create emotions in his followers. But we digress. So I had found this small booklet on his table. It didn't look important in any way, yet I was immediately curious. I opened it and started reading.
What was in there?
His experiments in the Eye. The ancient woman, as he called her. Your creation, these waxwork figures which he tried to infuse with life. It was disturbing. And at the same time, fascinating, as you can imagine.
That book, did it say anything about how this ritual worked? Andra said something about how the Shapers conceive differently.
I don't think it can be compared to how two humans reproduce, if that's what you're thinking. But as for the details, I don't know. As I said, I barely had 1 hour, and I only got to the chapter about you in the very end.
Do you still have that book?
No, of course not. I couldn't even read through all of it, else your father would have noticed that I had done nothing of what he had tasked me with, and I have no idea where it is now.
I figured. So, why did he, well, create me? My mother said it was to gain access to the Archfire.
Yes, I think that was the main reason. Though I couldn't help but notice a certain, I don't know, warmth in his words when he described his plans.
Warmth. I guess I should feel honored.
Yes. Sounds cynical, doesn't it? Still, I don't think you were just a tool to him. You weren't. Tell me, Tahar, knowing all that, how does it make you feel?
I just found out that my mother is a Shaper corpse and that my father created me as a tool to gain power. How do you think I feel?
You're right, I'm sorry. It was a stupid question to ask. Either way, I think we both need some time to think. As I said, Tahar, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you earlier, but I simply didn't know what to do. Tahar, what is it?
I'll be off.